Amongst hardcore NASCAR fans, the rise and fall of Red Bull Racing is a well-known story. It's tragic considering that this team showed a ton of promise early on. The very first driver they hired was there to witness the rise and fall from start to finish. Brian Vickers was signed by Red Bull Racing in 2007 and got off to the worst start possible. A 38th place points finish and 13 DNQs. The combination of a new team / manufacturer in Toyota was too much to handle. In the off-season, they went back to the drawing boards, and in 2008, they progressed a ton. The 83 made every race that season and scored 3 top 5s, 6 top 10s, a pole, and an average finish of 20.7, and finished a much improved 19th in the standings. 2008 might have been good, but 2009 was great. The organization showed that they could compete on a week-to-week basis up front and showed their full potential. 2009 was a historic year as Brian Vickers scored 1 win, 4 top 5s, 13 top 10s, 6 poles, an average finish of 17.3, and would make the NASCAR chase for the cup, finishing 12th. It seemed as if the team was heading in the right direction, but it all came crashing down within 2 seasons. The first 11 races saw Brian Vickers and Red Bull Racing stumbling out of the gate. 3 top 10s in the first 11 races was the best they could do, along with a 20th place average finish. Already on a downward spiral, it seemed nothing could make this season any more worse than it already was, until some more serious news came out.
Brian Vickers will be sidelined at least 3 months while recovering from treatment of blood clots.
Vickers would miss the rest of the season due to this, so heading into 2011, it was viewed as a comeback year. The potential was there for the duo to put together a magical season like they did a couple years prior. Instead, what soon followed was inconsistency, bad luck, and Brian Vickers just straight up acting a fool.
Let's see if we can see anything. Well, there's not a whole lot to see. Michael just got into the back of the... Tony Stewart did the same thing to Michael in the Bud shootout. Got into him pretty hard and turned him around right there and got Michael with it.
And Darrell, everybody was going to the apron, but those cars sliding off 31 degrees of banking, that's where they're going to end up.
It's kind of an old saying down here. What goes down must come up. And you try to go around on the outside if you can.
Jimmy Johnson's 48 just barely got into the back of Matt Kenseth to do enough damage to the right front.
It physically wears you out.
This is Brian Vickers, who just came out of the garage after damage from the big pileup. He's not going to make it back around to the garage. Now Greg Biffle is back on track. Jimmy Johnson came out of the garage, made a lap, and went back to the garage. Brian Vickers got sideways and then was perpendicular to the field. There's his silver car up against the wall. You see Vickers right there on the outside of Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, the first time I saw this, I thought when he got sideways that maybe the 56 got into him, but I don't think he did now. I think it was just from Matt getting into the 83 of Vickers and getting him loose. And it's, you know, we've seen cars have trouble off the 2 over there. It must be really slick up high.
Keselowski in the 2, pretty heavily damaged, so is Rudiman. Denny Hamlin in the 11 got some of it, so did Brian Vickers and Jamie McMurray.
I think it goes to show you how quick things happen here. Brian Vickers in that 83 was in turn 4 when all that started, but you get there so quick.
A number of these cars are all going to, the 1 car gets a lot of contact here from Keselowski's car. Then the 83 gets into the back of Rudiman's car. Levin's up on the outside, and he gets kind of scraped into the left rear here by A.J.
Allmendinger, the 43.
And it's worked well as around goes Vickers, and caution waves.
Remember, Brian Vickers in 83, he had been hooked up with his teammate Casey Kane in that 4 most of the first part of this race.
22 car gets Castle loose and just drives him into the side of Vickers' car there in the 83.
How'd Casey Kane get past?
How'd
any of them get past?
The 17 car's got to have a little left rear quarter panel damage, but out of that wreck, that's all we got.
What he wants to do is fly up through there right now early and catch Brian Vickers in the 83 and Martin Truex Jr.
And there's Vickers. And there's Reagan. What's going on here?
Let it roll. I'm going to get 4 tires, a little bit of front end damage.
Look at the whole left side of the 83 car is gone. I mean, it's just ripped off, hanging on by a thread there.
Like he was hit with a can opener.
left rear.
Vickers saying he caught him in the left rear.
I mean, it has ripped the entire left side of that car about off.
Vickers trying to get there, gets into Reagan instead. Oh boy.
Right here is where he rips the side out of that thing.
All that blue foam, if you remember, Jeff Hammond in the pre-race talked about that energy absorbent foam in the left and right side. That's what you saw flying out of there.
You know, payback sometimes. Well, a lot of times it happens around this place. Tony Stewart just got paid back for what he did earlier to Brian Vickers.
The attitude kind of, what the heck, I'll let him go and then pay it off.
And I can guarantee you that.
All clear.
All Vickers has been thinking about since he got turned by Stewart was getting in a position to do this.
Looking for him. Where's that 14?
Yeah. This is what happened earlier in the race. As we're on board with Stewart, that's Vickers up ahead. They're going down to 11. Stewart just leans on him and keeps leaning and just pushed Vickers into the tires down there.
And you know what, really, and Tony, and we've seen this twice, Tony got on him and would not get off of him.
I probably had it coming because I dumped him earlier, but I dumped him because he was blocking, so if anybody wants to block all year, that's what I'm going to keep doing.
Oh, wrecked out. Big trouble, front straightaway. That's Brian Vickers, who looked like he got a piece of the wall. Jimmy Johnson able to drive through behind. He was back there after having to make that second trip down pit road. Vickers spent a lot of today inside the top 10, was running 22nd when he got the wall here. Now we take a look at what happened.
He's down on the flat right there. Oh.
Teammates.
Yeah, they just, that's a hard one. I mean, there was no, he's on the inside.
I think Casey just ran. Well, Casey just looked like he ran out of. Casey really had the 36 up on the high side right there, and he was already leaning on the 36.
Yeah, Casey's trying to get off the 36, and I don't know how you could, not like you could do there. You know what I mean?
Trouble in turn 4. Casey Kane with a hard hit again. That was with his teammate Brian Vickers. That was a race for 26th position. That's not normally somewhere that you put yourself in a 3-wide position, and it wasn't even a door or really a slide opening there at all that Ambrose, yeah. Now there's a little follow-up there.
Tear it up any more if you can. Please let it roll. Come. Hit pit road here. Hit pit road.
Yeah, I'll tell you that he's not Vickers. He's just not happy about what happened there. You can't blame him for that. I don't blame him at all. Let's see right here. Oh, yeah. NASCAR has told Brian Vickers to take that car to the garage area and keep it there for a while.
You see this here straitjacket? Brian Vickers not only needs to wear it, he also needs to be locked in a padded room and studied for scientific purposes, so that if anyone in the future suffers from Vickernism, they can be cured.
Vickernism? Do I dare ask you to go on?
Well, you have to start at the beginning, Steve. And by the beginning, I mean lap 28 of 500. This is when Brian showed the early signs of the never-before-heard-of condition that I named after him. Here, he overdrives into the corner and nails Regan Smith. And this time, he runs into Montoya, which, hey, it's sometimes understandable. But in this case, it's part of a bigger pattern. Brian then drives in too deep again. This time he takes out Jamie McMurray. And here's the reason why we need to build awareness, Steve. Because McMurray doesn't know Brian has a problem. He just thinks Brian's a dope. So he retaliates. This is not helping Brian with his problem. More symptoms emerge after wrecking 3 times. Then you race too hard with a guy in a championship fight. This is over the edge, but you just keep beating on him until he gets sick of it. He doesn't know you have Vickernism, so you see even more people thinking you're a dope. The sufferer gets vindictive and ugly and hateful, and he drives into the back of a championship contender and wrecks his car. 5 incidents in just 1 race, Steve. Isn't it awful? And it still gets worse. Then the inflicted one, Vickers, he starts saying stupid things. Like this quote in Monday's article on SceneDaily.com. And remember, Brian still doesn't have a ride for next year. What most owners are going to look at is we took a torn-up race car and drove all the way to 7th before I was wrecked by Matt Kenseth, which is more impressive than anything. He's saying I had 5 incidents in one race, finished 30th, and for that, you should hire me.
Whoa, contact there. Brian Vickers pushing Matt Kenseth. Martinsville payback issued at Phoenix.
It sure was.
83.
That's all that was.
His 2011 stats are this: 0 wins, 3 top 5s, 7 top 10s, and an average finish of 20.6, and finished 25th in the standings. After 2011, Red Bull Racing was officially shut down. They sold all of their assets and equipment to BK Racing, another team that would shut down in 6 seasons. After one solid season, Brian Vickers and Red Bull Racing couldn't get it together. A duo that showed promise in the beginning, then eventually shut down, makes for one of the most tragic stories in NASCAR history. And once again, that'll do it for another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.